Meet Tom and Ben, once the teenage heartbeat of a pop-punk band, now the duo behind I Could Murder a Podcast, one of the top-rated true crime podcasts in the UK. But how do they navigate the transition from band life to making a living with their passion for mysteries? I'm sure we all remember being 16, being 100% positive your friends were going to be your friends for life. Most of the time, that's sadly not the case. High school ends, college comes for some, and life just goes on. And then there's Tom Norris and Ben Carter. They were both in bands around the Cambridge pop-punk scene, and they hit it off at around 16 years old. After becoming friends, the English duo formed the band My Toy Heart. They haven't released any songs since 2006, but their friendship has stayed solid. Though the music was no longer being produced, they wanted to stay partners in crime for years to come. Though hobbies and trends changed over the years, one thing stayed at the core of their interests: true crime.
When we discovered, probably a few years now, we both are really into true crime and murder. Sharing podcasts, sharing articles. You kind of got into a little bit later.
Well, I was more finding like underground crimes, like, you know, the indie sort of crimes, you know.
Give me one indie crime.
The Kooks.
I was thinking the Kooks.
Then, here comes 2020. Countries being in lockdown, leaving most people looking for something, anything to do. Ben and Tom decided it was time to put their interests and knowledge into some sort of project. They want to share these interests with similar people over the internet. After spending some time getting everything together, the two launched I Could Murder a Podcast on August 10th, 2020, with the first episode being Why the Las Vegas Gunman Planned the Deadliest Attack. At the beginning of their first episode, they give an introduction stating that their main goal is to have fun and discuss all of these topics that they've become so interested in. They relayed all the information about the Las Vegas shooting and dived into all the specifics of the case. Now, despite the name I Could Murder a Podcast, the two don't only discuss murders.
Well, it's not just crimes that we're going to be diving into. We're going to look at some mysteries, some conspiracy theories. I mean, some of them are a mixture, a blend, a hybrid of all three. What we're hoping to come up with, or what we're aiming to come up with, is some bingeable deep dive content. I mean, some people want to be rich, some people want to be famous. I just want to be binged.
One of the things people seem to love most about the two is the fact that they're capable of talking about something so horrible while shining light on the situations and treating the victims with dignity and respect. Over time, the two found themselves with a dedicated following that really liked their content. This caused them to want to actively seek out ways to connect with their followers. They want to build a sense of community that went beyond just the content that they were creating. Tom and Ben truly believe that taking their supporters' feedback and doing something with it is extremely important. While still in lockdown, I Could Murder a Podcast started offering memberships on Patreon. Patreon is a popular crowdfunding platform that allows content creators to receive recurring payments from their fans or patrons.
We are doing mini cases on Patreon if we do think the case doesn't quite warrant a full episode. Yeah. If you want to see any other little minisodes that we've been doing, head over to our Patreon and you can see some. We covered the creepiest love story ever. We've covered the politest murderer. We've covered Purple Aki. There's a lot of interesting cases in there. Yeah. So be sure to go over there.
Quickly after they realized the value of offering exclusive content to their members, they began offering their members the ability to vote for the cases that they wanted to hear the duo talk about. This gave their members some control over their upcoming videos. Their goal with this was to make their members feel valued and appreciated for the support. They stated that, without them, it's hard to grow. When it comes to Patreon, the duo received a lot of complaints about the platform as a whole, stating that it was buggy, slow, and ugly. Once they started seeing the complaints from their members, they started searching for a new home. If their supporters didn't love the platform that they were on, then it was time that they move somewhere they would love. The stars must have aligned because it was around this time that Fourthwall reached out to Tom and Ben. Fourthwall is a memberships platform combined with product manufacturing and customer support, which is exactly what I Could Murder a Podcast was looking for. Fourthwall's team was a fan of them, so they decided to reach out to the two and congratulate them on their success thus far. They simply asked, have you ever thought about combining your Patreon and shop into a single page that's 100% branded to you? After seeing the site Fourthwall had built for fellow podcasters TMG, Cody Coe and Noel Miller, it sounded great to Tom and Ben, so they scheduled a time to meet with the Fourthwall team to chat about potentially switching over. After a few conversations and some help from Fourthwall to set up their site, I Could Murder a Podcast decided to make the switch over in February 2023, stating that almost everyone saw this as a positive move. They made the switch by still respecting the members who were happy with Patreon by not immediately shutting down their Patreon page. We didn't shut down the site immediately. We've kept all existing content on there, aside from the new uploads since launching on Fourthwall, so we can be sure not to pressure anyone into moving too soon. We are much more about organic growth than an overly focused push towards the new site. They quickly began utilizing higher tiers to offer more perks to their members, such as voting on polls, a private Discord server, and members-only products, which they admittedly didn't think about until Fourthwall reached out and made it possible. I Could Murder a Podcast was so happy to be able to oversee their products without having to worry about production and distribution. On February 3rd, the I Could Murder a Podcast team posted a video on Twitter ecstatic to be showing off their new site, stating,
"Because it's the bloody best website in the world, and I'll tell you why. Because it's the new official home of I Could Murder a Podcast."
Over there, we're going to be hosting all of our minisodes from now on. It's a slightly cheaper price on the Patreon as well. And you also get exclusive access to merch that you've never seen before.
Not only that, but you'll have a direct line to Ben, Tom and Dan, Discord, exclusive birthday messages, a whole host of other perks that we've never given away before.
We've already received comments from people saying it's a lot better than Patreon. It's so much nicer. Oh, we love this place. Look at the walls of this house. It's gorgeous.
You'll also be massively supporting your good friends here at I Could Murder a Podcast, and we physically, literally, all of the adverbs, we couldn't make this podcast without you.
If you're looking to monetize doing what you love as a content creator, or maybe finally start that YouTube channel you've been thinking about for a while, there are platforms like Fourthwall that can help you along the way. But here's some takeaway advice from the I Could Murder a Podcast team. Consistency is everything. Regularly upload high quality content and your memberships will grow. Engage with your members constantly and listen to their feedback. They're there to support you.